Okay, it's a quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. So today's video, why it costs more to be poor in the UK. Basically, why it costs more when you have less. So in Britain, if you're poor, you seem to get punished, and those are just simple facts. And it's not just by the system, it's also by the price tags. So this isn't just about inequality, it's about how the entire system charges the poorest people more for less. It's the upside down economics of the UK. So let's look at some simple facts. Prepaid energy meters, 3 million households in the UK are on them. These households, in fact, pay up to 20% more per unit than direct debit customers. Think about that. Energy bills are mental as it is. And to be paying 20% more when effectively you may be on a lower income seems absolutely unsustainable. Often these are imposed on low-income tenants or those that are already in arrears. So by the very nature of being behind on your energy bill, you're offered an option of a prepayment meter designed to get you out of it, which then effectively raises your living costs and puts you in potentially more debt. Doesn't seem very fair. Obviously, you've got rent traps. Renters spend an average of 38 to 45% of their income just on housing. Whereas if you've got a mortgage, if you're a homeowner, you're likely to spend 18 to 25% of your income on housing. So again, you're penalised for being a renter. So basically, you've got no equity, you've got very little stability. In fact, evictions for renters were up almost 25% in 2024 alone. Those are stats direct from Shelter. So again, renters are being penalised, which again seems really unfair, especially given the situation that we've got with the boat people, where the boat people are being put in the affordable accommodation that our own people could have. It seems, again, ridiculous and unsustainable. You've got credit poverty, and this is a really bad one. So obviously, if you've got poor credit already, you're likely to be unable to take advantage of better interest rates. So by the very nature of you having poor credit, maybe you've had a default or a CCJ or whatever it might be, you're in no position to take advantage of anything other than credit offering high interest rates, which again is unsustainable. Overdraft fees that are unaffordable, and also predatory lenders, and there are plenty of those out there. People with the poorest scores, in fact, pay up to £3,500 a year more for the same goods and services. And those stats are direct from the Citizens Advice Bureau, 2024. You've got food, desserts, and convenience stores. Obviously, poor areas often lack big supermarkets. They pay more per item at local shops. I've actually seen tins of beans in a corner shop near me, £1.50 for a tin of Heinz beans. Now, obviously, if you went to somewhere like Asda or Morrison's or Lidl, you would be able to get their own brand probably around 35, 40p a tin, sometimes even less, depending on where you go. But that's like 3.5 times the price. And I don't call it that convenient, to be fair. But these places often populate the poorer demographic areas. And then you've got other places like Tesco Express and Sainsbury's Local, who are absolute swines. They charge 13 to 15% more for exactly the same items that you find in their main or flagship stores. So why is that? That shouldn't even be a thing. Surely the price of a Sainsbury's product, let's just say Sainsbury's hot cross buns, surely wherever you buy that, whether it's in a service station Sainsbury's or it's in a supermarket flagship store or in a local store, surely that should be the same price across every Sainsbury's. That is just complete greed, absolute corporate greed. And again, it's unfair and it's unsustainable. You've got public transport disadvantages. So rural poor people often have little to no access to affordable transport. So there aren't buses to places in the middle of North Devon. You know, you could live somewhere that's 5 miles from the nearest town. And there are plenty of places like that in Devon and Cornwall, let alone if you go elsewhere in the country, Norfolk, Somerset, up and around the Lake District, etc. Plenty of remote places. So these people are forced to own cars. They've got no choice. It's either that or be cut off from society. If you don't have a car, you're probably not going to be able to get to your job. So you face job loss by very nature of being rural. Bus and rail fares have risen 30% plus in the last 5 years. And it is ridiculous. I actually looked at a train ticket from where I live, and it was to go to London. I wanted to go to I think it was either Heathrow or Gatwick Airport. But anyway, it was a train ticket to London to get to an airport. And the train from where I live to Paddington would have cost me £280. It's a return. I mean, fair play, it's a return. But then you go on to EasyJet, you go on to Ryanair. For £280, I could fly to Egypt, which is arguably further than Devon to London. So it makes you wonder if aeroplanes and air tour operators can charge 40 quid for a flight, 50 quid for a flight. Why are trains so ridiculously expensive? If the infrastructure is that expensive to maintain that it requires prices to be 5, 6, or 7 times the price of a commercial flight, then we need to question perhaps having a better service, perhaps doing away with it and having something more affordable. I look at the services that I've seen in other countries as well. I went to Japan about 4 years back. And Japan is lauded as having obviously one of the best rail systems in the world, and I completely agree. But it was also not only the best rail system in the world, it was probably the most affordable. The cost of getting around in Tokyo, in all the different zones, compared to the cost of travelling in London between the zones, is no compare. London was way more expensive, probably 4 times more expensive than Tokyo, which again seems ridiculous. You think of the scale of London, it's around 7 or 8 million people, I believe, that are officially there. You look at the scale of Tokyo, it's more like somewhere around 18, 20 million. And for some reason, Tokyo is more affordable. And I don't believe it's solely down to infrastructure. I think a lot of it is down to the way that the funds are managed. And a lot of it's down to, obviously, greed and price hikes. You've got digital exclusion. So this is another big one. 6.5 million UK adults have little or no digital skills. So this basically means that not only are they missing job opportunities, not only are there online discounts that they're potentially missing, and even access to benefits maybe, but also they're missing out on access to socialise, to better their life, to enrich their life by meeting new people, forging new friendships, and having that kind of access to society. So we're obviously missing a trick. We're obviously dropping the ball here massively. What's your experience of any of this? Really keen to find out if any of this has affected you or what your views and opinions on this are. Drop it in the comments, let me know. So YouTube's going to put another video probably up here somewhere. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz, and there'll be another video tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.